Hello and welcome to another pen video from me, Penultimate Dave. I have here another 10 pens currently inked this week. I think let's go through these briefly one by one. We'll go through them in a little bit more detail and then we'll do a writing sample. So from left to right we have the classic pens, and this is the CP5 and this is in the modern. We have a classic pen CP5 in the vintage. These are both made by Parker. We have a Parker Duofold 130th anniversary around the world, or traveling the world. We have a Visconti Leonardo da Vinci Machina. We have an Armando Simone Club Bologna Extra, and this is in the black and gold Lucens. We have another Armando Simone Club, and this is again another Bologna Extra. It was a Chassis Luxuries exclusive. It's called the Wild West. We have a Visconti, and this is the Empire. We have a Morgan Wisser, and this is the orange gold leaf Urushi. We have a Cypress Maki-e Goldfish, and we have a Cypress Maki-e Dragon. So I think let's take a look at these pens inked up in a little bit more detail. So this is the classic pens CP5 made by Parker for Lambrou, Andy Lambrou at Classic Pens, and this is a very lovely sterling silver pen. I picked this up in I think it was March 24, although it could have been October. No, I think it was March 24. This is a really nice pen, and I'm just going to actually double check that. Yes, I am actually correct. So this is the modern version, and you can see it's got a Parker nib there. You've got effectively an ebonite feed. This is a medium nib version pen. It is sterling silver. The converter is out of ink. I'm going to ink it back up again. It is just a standard international converter, and because you have metal threads there, you're probably not going to be able to eyedropper that pen. Although I'm not so sure anybody with a Parker probably would want to eyedropper a pen like this in sterling silver. Can I post the cap? I can, and it posts very deeply and securely as well. It's a beautiful pen. I bought this in a set from John at stjohnspens.com. Very lucky I was able to pick this one up. And at the same time, I also picked up the vintage version. So the vintage has got a slight sort of more of a curvature swirl going around this. And again, it is a CP5 made by Parker. There is a little bit of tarnishing going on here, just above the clip. I can polish that off, that's not a problem. Sterling silver, you do have to polish from time to time, and it will bring back the shine. And I will probably do that very soon, actually. But again, I picked this one up at the same time. It's technically not a set, it's slightly different numbers on the limited edition one, but I am very glad that I picked this one up with me, and again that was in March 24, and you can see there it's a little bit of a discoloration there on the nib, and again this is a cartridge converter, and I will re-ink this one back up again. I do like these Parkers. It is again a medium there that you can see on the ebonite feed, and you can post the cap. It will post deeply and securely. Not that I normally post my caps, but you can do on this one, and honestly I wouldn't have an issue posting those, other than it's just a little bit back weighted on those pens. So if you like a back weighted pen, then definitely post the cap on those, but they are going to be quite back weighted, quite heavy there, because it is sterling silver. The next pen here is the Parker Duofold 130th anniversary. It's called the Craft of Traveling. I do remember picking this one up. I bought it on eBay. I remember seeing it, and I knew at that moment that I was going to buy this pen. It was in an auction, and I was going to pay as much as I could, which sounds quite counterintuitive, really, on an eBay auction. You want to pay as least amount as possible. But the reason being is that I know about, I think it was around 2017, 2018 when this pen came out. I remember talking to Chris at Trufe and saying, I want this pen. And he said, well, you do realise the price of this pen. And he's not so sure because it's such a limited edition, small limited edition run. He didn't think he'd get one. And he didn't. And I obviously really didn't want to pay that money either. So I let this one go, and then when I saw this on an eBay auction, I just thought, you know what, I have to buy this. This is kismet. This is one of those situations where you just have to go and buy it, and I did, and I did pay a little bit more than I wanted to pay. I did get into a little bit of a bidding war with somebody else, and luckily for me, I won, and their bid wasn't that high. So I'm very glad that I bought this. It actually comes in a Paddington Bear style suitcase. And it is a heavy, heavy suitcase. Like most Parkers, it is a cartridge converter, and it's got an O-ring here. I do find it a little bit stiff there. You can see the cartridge converter. I need to ink this one up this week for the writing sample, and I will be writing with it as well. This pen I got with a fine nib. I didn't have the option of going for a fine or a medium or a broad, so I had to stick with a fine nib on this one. Can I post that cap? Yes, you can. Again, it posts deeply and securely. And again, it wouldn't bother me too much. This cap is actually pretty light. So it's not going to be as back weighted as the classic pen CP5s made by Parker here. But you can see it's basically in the duofold centennial size of pen that is made, because these two are centennial sized. Centennial means it's a little bit larger in terms of length. It's kind of a difference between maybe a Pelican M600 to M800, or an M800 to an M1000, and likewise the girth on the Centennial versus the International. The Centennial's slightly wider as well in terms of body and cap. Personally, I prefer the Centennial. I'm not that interested in the International. There is one International though that unfortunately they didn't make in a Centennial, and one that I would really like, and it was the Queen Elizabeth II Jubilee, and that is one that I would like, and I have had the option to pick it up on a number of occasions, but I know that it's not, let's say, it's not an expensive pen, it's not a cheap pen though, and knowing that it's an International, and I don't like the thinness of the International, I guess it's what puts me off actually buying that pen. If I found one for a really good price, maybe I would buy it. And I'm just putting that one out there. So we will have to see in the future. The next pen, again, is another pen that comes in a massive box. This is the Leonardo da Vinci Machina. And I just love this pen. It is a beautiful pen. You have this sort of resin that they used on the Medici as well, pen, and they call it an acro silk. And then you have this very like weird sort of clip. I want to say it's a clip. It's not that functional, though you can see it moving there a little bit there. I guess it is functional. It's not as functional as some clips may be. But you have Leonardo da Vinci's signature here. You have a lot of his drawings there in scrimshaw. It is a power vac filler. It's a single reservoir, hook safe lock mechanism, and you have the newer 18 karat gold nib there from Visconti. It is a single reservoir though. You can post the cap as well if you so wish. It's a nice pen, and I've always said that the Homo sapien pens, and this is the size, the weight, the dimensions, even the concave section here on the pen, very reminiscent of the Homo sapiens. And I do think that, and this was when Dante Del Vecchio was at Visconti, that I do think he very much lucked out with the dimensions, the features of the Homo sapiens, because it's been a pretty much staple of Visconti ever since, even after Dante Del Vecchio left Visconti and went to Pineda. So it's a pen that I like, the Homo sapiens. The next pen inked up is an Armando Simone Club. It's a Bologna Extra, and this is the black and gold Lucens. And I remember, again, this must have been probably about 2017, 2018. I remember seeing this at a pen show and saying to John at St. John's Pens that I would have to buy this pen. And he did give me a very good price on it. I really love it. It's a pneumatic filling pen. So you basically, if I unscrew this, and I will show you, I've got to be a bit careful because it is inked up. But basically you have this shaft, you have a sack inside, you have a hole here. So what happens is you normally push that down. I'm trying to do it outside of my pen tray just in case it did drop some ink. And then you let your finger off, and the suction of air fills that sack, and well, actually the air gets excluded from the sack, and then the ink will suck into that sack, essentially vintage sack. It's got a number 8 size nib there, and it's a Bock nib, very large, a sort of ebonite feed there. I want to say ABS plastic feed then, but no, it is an ebonite feed. Can I post the cap? No, you can't. It's not designed to do so, but it is a huge pen. The only thing I do find about this is the threads are cut quite deep and the section is quite short, so I really do feel this, which is a shame. I guess once you start writing with a pen, you kind of get used to it over time. But it is... I love the Bologna Extra size pens. I like large pens, and I cannot lie. And I do have quite a few of them. I think I have 7 or 8, something like that. The next one here was one that I kind of bought a little bit on a whim, and this was around, I think it was around Black Friday, Fountain Pen Day. I saw Brian at Chatley offering this one, and it is the Wild West. And you've got Wild West engraved here on the cap band. And I kind of remember the Visconti Wild West pen, which I always wanted, but I was always too shy, maybe, to pick it up. It was not a cheap pen, and it was a little bit more of a bulbous pen as well, but it was a pen that I loved the look of. So when I saw this one being made available, I decided to buy it. Again, it's got a number 8 size ASC Bock nib there with an ebonite feed. Again, it's a pneumatic filling pen. You can't post the cap on this one. Again, the threads, they're not quite as deep as the black and gold Lucens, but you do still feel them. So again, that's just something just to bear in mind there. But I remember picking that one up, and I remember actually liking that. I like the colour, the striation there of the blues and the reds. I just think it looks nice. The next pen inked up here is the Visconti, and this is the Empire. Again, this was a pen that I really wanted for some time, and a friend, Tony, in Kansas City, liked this pen. He bought it and absolutely loved it. Now, he got the silver version. This is the gold vermeil version. I like the gold a little bit more, to be honest. I thought I would prefer the silver, but I do like the gold. I picked this up for an insane price. This has the older 18 karat gold nib. This is before Visconti changed to 23 karat palladium. It is a Paravac. It is, I believe, a double reservoir as well. It just is a very comfortable pen. Again, that concave section that you see on Homo sapiens. You can post a cap, but look where this cap goes. It's being forced over the overlay there, and I'm just not a fan of posting caps like that. I do typically prefer cap bands being on the edge here to try and stop that cap splitting over time, because a lot of caps will split over time, or certainly have done in the past. So not in my collection, but I have witnessed this with a lot of pens, vintage pens as well. But pens, going around the pen shows, I typically have seen some a little bit worse for wear like that. So it's always something that I do kind of, I'm more careful about, and that's why I don't post my caps a lot more. The next pen inked up is a relatively newer pen. This pen I picked up in the March pen show this year. It's a Morgan Visser, and it is the orange gold leaf Urushi, and this really is a stunning pen. Hats off to Morgan Visser. This really is a lovely pen. Cartridge converter. I've actually got a music nib on this. It's a 14 karat gold Bock music nib, and I have to say I am loving that nib. It's a very bouncy nib. It's a wide nib as well. And you can see there, inked up, cartridge converter. But it's got a lot of threads here. But this is a pen that I do love. The Urushi here, it is amazing. And I'd like to probably get some more of his pens similar to this, because I like the design that Urushi, it just stands out. The next pen inked up is a Cypress, and this is the Maki-e Goldfish. I bought this last year. Still writing a lot with this pen. I still love it, even though it's a little bit on the shorter, a little bit on the thinner side than I would prefer. But you can see here, you've got the Maki-e Goldfish. All of this is raised, so I can feel that. Even though there is a lacquer, and I presume it's a Urushi lacquer over the top, it's still, you can feel it. So again, this isn't a pen that I really would want to post because of that. It has a number 6 size Cypress nib, and these are made by Kanway in India. It's an 18 karat gold, and this one is I think I got it with a medium nib there. Yeah, medium. But you can, if you want to, post this cap, but this bit here is quite raised, so again, it's not something I'd want to post a lot. And again, it does have a cartridge converter there as well. So that is another pen that I have inked up this week. And then the last pen here is, again, another Cypress pen. Very similar, but a very different design. It's similar in terms of size, in terms of girth. It's the Cypress Maki-e Dragon. And this was a pen that came out over the Christmas period last year. And when I was, Boxing Day, I was scrolling through my phone like a lot of us do. And I saw this pen, and within minutes, Dr. Joe Rotolo had messaged me and said, "Have you seen this pen?" And I'm like, "Yes." And he said, "I just bought one." And I'm like, right, okay, I know there's only 5 available. Now there's only 4 available. Thanks, Joe. Right, I need to go and buy this. And I did buy it, and I'm glad that I did. and a few of my other friends bought one as well. And I think we bought the majority of the 5 pens available there. Again, though, this is a number 6 size nib, and that I believe is an 18 karat gold nib, yeah, and it's a broad nib. So again, I could post the cap. I'm not going to, because I can feel the finish on here. And it is a standard international converter there. So again, I just love writing with the pen. Yes, I do prefer it if it were a little bit thicker, a little bit longer. I think I'd prefer it to be similar size to the Visconti. So maybe half a centimeter longer, maybe a 15 15 millimeter diameter. That would be ideal. 16 would be brilliant, but 16 would be something like this, essentially. So there you have it. That's my 10 pens currently inked for this week. I think let's now go and do a writing sample. So the first pen inked up today is the classic pen CP5 in the modern. So we'll do an ink swatch first. And this is a medium nib. I just find that this writes very, very nicely. So this is the classic pens CP5, and it is the modern, made by Parker, and it's a medium, and it's an 18 karat gold nib. The ink in here is Diamine Earl Grey, which, as you probably know by now, is still my favourite grey ink. It's not as much of a favourite compared to some of the other grey inks that I've more recently used. However, it still is my favourite. The next pen inked up is the classic pens, and that is the CP5, but this is in the vintage. Now, typically I would ink this up with a different grey ink, but this week I have got it inked up with the same grey ink. So we will do an ink swatch here as well. So you're probably not going to see a huge amount of difference here, but it's the classic pens CP5 in the vintage. And I would say already that this is writing a little bit more like a fine nib. And I'm just having a quick look. It is still a medium nib there that you can see. So interesting, but you do find this from time to time. It is an 18 karat gold nib, and as I mentioned already, the ink is still Diamine Earl Grey, but that is my go-to staple of a grey ink. It's just an ink that I do like writing with a lot. I find it's a very lubricated ink, and that's partly the reason why. The next pen inked up is the Parker 130th anniversary, and this is a Craft of Travelling. So we'll do an ink swatch here. And I used to, I think, ink this one up with Pelican Edelstein Topaz. Gone with a different colour this time. So this is the Parker, and it's 130th anniversary, and it's the Craft of Travelling, and I'm just going to put travel actually because I'm going to run out of space. This, I believe, I'm just going to double check, is a fine nib. But it is an 18 karat gold nib. The ink in here is Pelican Edelstein but it's actually golden lapis, and golden lapis has a slight amount of gold ink, gold sort of particulate in it. Not a huge amount, and I think I can. I'm just going to have a look. Yeah, that's the bottle you can see there. So this does have a little bit of gold, although I'm not seeing it in that writing sample. The next pen inked up is the Visconti Leonardo da Vinci Machina. So again, we'll do an ink swatch here. And I just love how this nib writes. It is an 18 karat gold nib. It is a medium nib, but it writes a little bit more on the fine side of medium. So this is the Visconti Leonardo da Vinci Machina. And it, as I said, is a medium 18 karat gold nib, but just looking at this, I'd almost say it's getting a little bit more extra fine, but definitely a fine for sure. And then the ink in here is Akamon SBRE Brown, but that is a nice ink. I have to agree that that is a very nice brown coloured ink. I also like Diamine Ochre a lot as well. I think I have really used Akamon SBRE Brown a lot in this pen in the past though. The next pen inked up is the Armando Ceremony Club Bologna Extra, and this is the black Lucens. I normally call it the black and gold Lucens. So we'll do an ink swatch here. And in past, I've used Pilot Washizuku in a Ho. Actually, I've used a lot of different inks in this one, but this one isn't in a Ho. So this is the ASC Bologna Extra black and gold Lucens. I call it black and gold because it's got a lot of black and it's got a lot of gold in it. It's a medium, although typically writes a little bit more like a broad, and it's an 18 karat gold nib there. The ink in here today is Robert Oster Gold Antiqua, which is a nice gold ink. I do like that one a lot, and I did buy another bottle of that. I want to say it was this year. I think it was last year actually. The one bottle I'd had of that ink, I was pretty much out of. The next pen inked up is the Armando Ceremony Club Bologna Extra, and this is the Wild West. So we'll do an ink swatch here. And I've inked this up with a blue, I've inked this up with a red, I've gone with red again. I don't know, I have a lot of blues, and I guess I have a lot of reds, but I typically prefer red over blue more lately. So this is the ASC Bologna Extra, and it is the Wild West. It's a Chatterley Luxuries exclusive. It's a medium, and it's an 18 karat gold nib. And the ink in here is Diamine Poppy Red, which is a staple red that I use a lot. It's a very bright, punchy red, and I think that's why I like it. The next pen inked up is the Visconti Empire. So we'll do an ink swatch. And this is starting to run low on ink, and I will probably need to refill it. So this is the Visconti Empire, and this is a fine nib, but I would swear it was a medium nib. And it is a 18 karat gold nib. And the ink in here is Visconti turquoise. But I love how this pen writes, and it just writes well. So we have a Visconti here with a medium nib that writes like a fine, and we have a Visconti with a fine nib that writes more like a medium. The next pen is the Morgan Wisser, and this is the orange gold leaf Urushi. I always struggle to remember the name of this pen. And this puts down quite a nice wide line. So it is the Morgan Wisser, and it's the orange gold leaf Urushi, and this is a music nib, and it's a 14 karat gold music nib. And then the ink in here is KWZ Grapefruit, which I think still actually represents the colour of that pen quite nicely. The next pen inked up is the Cypress and Maki-e Goldfish. So we'll do an ink swatch here. And this, although it's a medium nib, it writes very fine. So this is the Cypress Maki-e Goldfish. It is technically a medium note, but like I said, it writes. I was trying to look at the fine nibs I've got here. I've got medium, like the Parker here is a fine that writes a little bit more like a medium. This writes more like a medium. This writes a little bit more like a fine to extra fine to me. And it is an 18 karat gold nib. The ink in here is Robert Oster, and it is Gold Antiqua. But you can see here very different colours in that ink. And then the last pen inked up is the Cypress Maki-e Dragon. So again, we'll do an ink swatch here. Now, with this one, I actually said to Selena at Cypress that I really, if possible, wanted a broad, and she did come through, and I got a broad. So this is the Cypress Maki-e, and it's a dragon. And like I said, it's a broad 18 karat gold nib. And honestly, if and when I buy more Cypress nibs, I think I might actually go for a broad nib. The ink in here is, again, Robert Oster Gold Antiqua, but that is a really nice gold coloured ink. But again, you can see the difference here between the line variation between these two nib widths. So I think let's take a look at these pens inked up one more time. We have a classic pen CP5 in the modern, made by Parker, in a medium 18 karat gold nib inked up with Diamond Earl Grey. We have a classic pen CP5 in the vintage, again made by Parker, in a medium 18 karat gold nib inked up with Diamond Earl Grey. We have a Parker 130th anniversary craft of Travelling in a fine 18 karat gold nib inked up with Pelican Edelstein Golden Lapis, and that ink sample was pretty wet, so it has feathered quite a bit here on Oxford Optic paper. We have a Visconti Leonardo da Vinci Machina in a medium 18 karat gold nib inked up with Akerman SBRE Brown. We have an Armando Simone Club Bologna Extra Black and Gold Lucens in a medium 18 karat gold nib inked up with Robert Oster Gold Antiqua. We have an Armando Ceremony Club Bologna Extra Wild West in a medium 18 karat gold nib inked up with Diamine Poppy Red. We have a Visconti Empire in a fine 18 karat gold nib inked up with Visconti Turquoise. We have a Morgan Wisser Orange Gold Leaf Urushi in a 14 karat gold music nib inked up with KWZ Grapefruit. We have a Cypress Maki-e Goldfish in a medium 18 karat gold nib inked up with Robert Oster Gold Antiqua. And then last but not least, we have a Cypress Maki-e Dragon in a broad 18 karat gold nib inked up with Robert Oster Gold Antiqua again. So there you have it. That's my 10 pens currently inked for this week. Thanks for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next pen video. Bye-bye.